Welcome to Mufc RealistTV, the channel that always tells you the real things, not the delusional stuff. And one thing that we can say about this season is we can't not fool ourselves. We got to be real. Man United sitting on 16th place and losing against West Ham yesterday. That is 17 losses. If you look at the overall performance for the last 5 games in the Premier League, it's loss, draw, loss. Some people out there in social media is calling from Ruben Amorim's head, saying this is not good enough. They don't see it. And you're looking at Tottenham Hotspurs. They're sitting on the 17th below us with the same draw, loss, draw, loss. And then you scratching your head and say, how the hell could these two worst teams in the Premier League almost facing relegation form get a spot to play in Europa League and play in Champions League potentially next season? Well, that is the rules. And that is the caveat of Europa League in that. I see that a lot of pundits and a lot of fans are starting to debate it, but it's out of debate. It's out of debate. One can arguably also say that I put my hands up to say, for you that have been following this channel, saying that, Mick, why are you not streaming anymore? Why are you not doing content that much? Well, it's similar to, if you go back to my video section when I was the first one out of the fan channels to say when Ineos sacked Erik ten Hag and put in Ruben Amorim, changed the entire season, I called it out to say they are actually writing off the season. And lo and behold, now everyone is talking about it. We're writing off the season. Ruben Amorim has come up in presser numerous times to say, be prepared for the perfect storm. He's been transparent and honest as possible. He said, we've got to suffer. And we've been suffering the whole season. But he's also being the one that's been calling out clear and obvious that I cannot work with these players. They're not my players. They cannot play their system. They cannot play their style. The mentality is not there. And I've acknowledged that. But a lot of you guys that have been following Man United for a lifetime always compare it to standards. No matter what, we should never be where we are in this league position. I do understand, but you also have to then to look at the circumstances, which is kind of falling out from your logic. On this channel, we always apply logic and reasoning, but I'm also a fan like you. I also have invested a lot of time into this channel. I've never missed a game of Manchester United. I always watch them. But when you see that it hasn't been good, right? When you see that you're getting a glimmer of hope in the Europa League, that we're playing more relaxed, unbeaten in the Europa League, we have a chance for silverware. We have a chance to redeem ourselves. We have a chance to get into the Champions League next season and potentially get more money in the transfer window. Because one thing is for clear, we need money in order to sort of go into the transfer market. Because Glazers has been actually ruining this club for years. And you lot seems to be forgetting that. You lot always point at the manager as the focal point, as the one that's causing the problems, which doesn't really make sense, right? For me, I decided a long time ago that, mental health plays an important part of my life. It is so difficult also since I moved away to Southeast Asia and Thailand with my family to actually do match reactions after 3 a.m. in the morning, which is kind of impossible in a way. Yeah, you lose your quality of life, you lose sleep. And me personally, whenever we lose a game, I'm a sore loser. I get really emotional, really reactionary. So I'll give it to say over this couple of months, I stopped streaming. I become emotional numb. I become immune to us losing because I see the bigger picture. I do understand Ruben Amorim's situation. I do understand. I've been following every single press conference when he actually saying we got to suffer. These players that we have today was never meant to play the 3-4-3 system. It was always been to play a 3-4-3 or 3-2-4-1. The striker, the goals, you can go back and put it on Ineos. They were so desperate to get rid of Marcus Rashford, Jadon Sancho, Anthony Dos Santos, high earners, but they didn't replace them in the January window. And they expect us to score goals with what we have, with an underperforming Rasmus Højlund, unexperienced Rasmus Højlund, You look at his body language, you look at his confidence, absolutely shattered. You look at his yard of pace, he's lost the yard of pace. You look at his positioning, and you're questioning, yeah, this guy needs to go. But in reality, this guy hasn't been coached. This guy doesn't have a senior striker that he can learn from. Yeah, and that's about it for that position, right? In terms of injuries, there's no excuse for injuries. You should always rotate, and Ruben Amorim has been quite good at rotating. Injuries do happen in football, 100%. But it's just the way you can also question, why would you risk Lenny Euro and Mazarawi when you've been saying we got to take care of the squad? Now, we saw that Lenny Euro got injured yesterday. We don't really know the extent, but he's been such an important player for us, revolutionary this season. Same with Mazarawi. You know, at least I was expecting to see more of a youthful team yesterday, but still there was 6 changes in that game. That was B team, and I didn't really care, to be honest. I said, well, there's 2 leagues, there are 2 games left in the Premier League, and what doesn't matter? It looked like a preseason game anyway, like on a dead rubber game. Again, perhaps I dropped my standards, or perhaps I'm just applying my logic and reasoning, you know, just taking away my sheer emotions from it, because that's the most important thing, my mental health, right? If you do understand that how to switch off is so much easier, and this is exactly what I've done. I still find United being my second family. I still find you, the community that are subscribed to this channel, being my family. But I do value also my personal mental health as well. I do have an obligation to stream. I do have an obligation to make content. But when I don't feel like it, when the chips are down for me, this is where you see my radio silence. I just want to sort of put my hand up to say that, yes, that is the case. I saw my colleague Alice Talks Football yesterday doing a video about that. And I said to Alice, listen, I've been doing that for months, right? What is there to talk about? It's the same rinse, wash, repeat. You know, it gets boring in terms of being a content creator to talk about the same thing, spin around. No, I just looking forward for 1 week from now, from the Champions League final, where we absolutely have 2 teams sitting 16th and the 17th going for it to salvage this season, to get silverware. But I certainly believe that in terms of culture, Man United will win this final. I'm not going to jinx it. Footballing gods do exist. But however, if you look at Spurs, they don't have a winning culture. They don't have trophies. It's, you know, they do have a cabinet, but it's very, very empty with trophies, similar to Arsenal as well. But I'm not going to get carried away, because I think that our players are coming back into form. Amad Diallo is getting minutes. Mason Mount's getting minutes. Luke Shaw's getting minutes. We have squad depth versus them. And plus, we're playing away in Betis, which is not, you know, in England whatsoever. So Man United have a tendency to play better away than actually playing at home. So I feel very confident. But you have to also question yourself, like, you know, what do you expect, right? This season was a write-off from the owners above. Why can't we fans just write it off as well, right? So let me know in the comment section below. I am, in a way, understandable what's going on here, but also I'm willing to give this team, this regime a chance, because I do recognize that this is the first year in a full squad of footballing operation, directors, scouting, sporting directors. They're on you. And this is the season where they have to put the money where it was worth with, to support Ruben Amorim. You can't judge Ruben Amorim based on the performance. 17 losses, yes, understandable. It's disgraceful, yes. You can throw your toys out of the pram, but at the same time, you also have to sort of recognize that this is not his squad. You have to also recognize that this is a way where you can go into the summer and everything is above him. Will they back him? We need a striker. We need a midfielder. We need centre back. We need wing backs. I look at the current wing backs and I'm not satisfied. Patrick Dogo, good young, still learning on the job. We need more experienced wing backs. Mazarawi is not a wingback. Degorlo is not a wingback. They're professional fullbacks, right? So in Ruben Amorim's system, you need wingers that can track back. Potentially, if we don't sell Anthony, I think that will be a good shout. Potentially, if we don't, if we keep Amad Diallo on the right, that could be a good shout too. Anthony left footer can play on the left, but still, he's been doing madness in La Liga, and I think that there's going to be a lot of attractions from La Liga clubs to buy him. Anyway, I'm done ranting. I just want to put my hand up to say, listen, we are no longer the massive team what we used to be. So why do we have still that high standards? ? But let me know what you think in the comments below. And do you think we're going to win the Europa League? I certainly believe, because you gotta believe. It's been Mick Ruby from Mufc RealistTV this morning rant, having my say, and hopefully I make sense of your day. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And see you till the next time. Don't forget, it's always glory, glory, Manchester United. I'm out of here. Peace.
Thank you so much for stopping by and watching Mufc RealistTV. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us on the socials.